everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse FanCast. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, basically anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links to not only this show, but some of our other shows like Cinematic Adventures and MF Uncensored. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, and we have a full studio, and I'm going to introduce people in whatever order I so choose. So first up, from Cinematic Adventures and Your Mom's Diary, we have Sean. Sean, how are you today?
I'm great, Paul. Looking forward to this. It's going to be a fun day.
I hope so at this point. We also have from the YouTube channel BlindBat8719 for all your Magic the Gathering wants, needs, and questions that you might have. I don't know. Brendan, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Paul. I'm having a great time.
Oh, I bet you are. And then, of course, not I don't want to say best for last, but this guy, the co-host of the Multiverse FanCast, of course, Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today?
I'm doing better.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take it though.
I
went last, but it's fine.
Well,
It's fine.
It's a circle. We just went around.
Circle.
We're very new to the whole video thing.
Kind of more like a square, actually.
All right. So it's ironic that we're already bickering like old married couples because in today's episode, we have a very special episode. No, we're not old. Please stop interrupting me. We have a very special episode because we are going to be doing our first ever superhero movie bracket battle. Say that 3 times fast. Nobody's going to jump in.
I already forgot the words.
Superhero movie battle bracket. All right. So we've done battle brackets before. We've done superhero versus superhero. Now this one is going to be movie versus movie. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Mr. BlindBat8719, Brendan. He's going to go through the rules.
Yes. So the rules, there are 32 movies that I picked. I curated the list to have some discussion. It is superhero movies. So for example, Hancock is involved in this list because it's about a superhero, whereas 300 is excluded because it's only comic book and not a superhero. And we're basically going to discuss what we think is the best movie, and then hopefully come out of this battle royale, see which out of these 32 is the best movie of it, all of them.
All right, thank you for that. It's like such a soothing voice. I don't know what it is, but anyway. So
going.
What it does what? But anyway. So a couple of caveats for this or rules. Number 1, I believe Brendan, you will be the tiebreaker should a tie occur.
Yes, I will be the tiebreaker.
Now, also, just because of the positioning of us at the table does not mean it is me and Sean versus Ronnie and Brendan. It is just the way we finally figured out how to do the camera work after only an hour. Or is it? I mean, we're wearing similar shirts.
Oh,
okay. Boy.
So it's us against them?
We could do that. I don't have a problem with that. But so let us get started. And hopefully in the edit, it's going to look fantastic on YouTube.
All right, guys. So our first matchup is we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Oh, God.
Versus the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. Which one is the better movie?
Can I argue? Are we going to argue it too?
If you think there's an argument to be made, we can definitely do that. Again, that was some of the matchups should hopefully lead to some discussion. Again, I think I'll start off by saying I do think Captain America Winter Soldier is the better of the 2 movies. There are some fun parts to the Daredevil movie, but I think overall, like Captain America Winter Soldier is deemed like one of the best movies out of the MCU at all. So,
all right, Ronnie.
To me, this is a no-brainer. Winter Soldier. I mean, to me, it is a near perfect movie. So just for that reasoning, I don't have to go too much into it. Winter Soldier.
Sean.
Just a little nod to Daredevil. Daredevil's like a guilty pleasure movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's no contest here. Winter Soldier is, whether you want to say it's the best, I think it's top 3 MCU movies of all time. So no fight for me. It's Winter Soldier.
All right, I'm gonna play a slight devil's advocate. I will say that Daredevil had a better soundtrack of all things. I'll say it that like it was such an early 2000s soundtrack. You had like Evanescence and like Disturbed and all these things, and also Colin Farrell was so much fun as Bullseye. He was just so much fun, and he hammed it up, and I love it. But I will say, of course, Captain America: The Winter Soldier is the superior movie.
All right, so here's one of the ones I have a little bit of a personal favorite in this one. I have the movie Push with Chris Evans back from like 2008, 2006. I
still got to do that movie.
Yeah, it's on the to-do list. Yes, versus the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk.
Ooh. That's a fun one. Now, also, these were all randomized, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
I picked the movies, but the matchups were randomized. I wrote down on my list who I think the final two would be, and I made sure that those two are on the opposite ends of the spectrum to see if they try to promote that. But otherwise, this is all random.
Oh, that's fun. All right, Brendan, I'll let you go first because you picked it.
Oh man, better movie. I actually I think I had a lot more fun with the Incredible Hulk than I did with Push. I think Push has a great background, great backdrop, some interesting stuff in there, but I think it falls into the trap of all the superpowers are kind of just a variation of some sort of psychic power. Whereas I kind of liked. I think that Edward Norton did a nice humanization of the struggle of Bruce Banner versus the Hulk. So I'm going to put my pick towards the Incredible Hulk being the better movie.
All right, Ronnie.
I'm gonna have to agree that it's the Incredible Hulk for me. I think Edward Norton does the best out of all the Hulks we've had between Hulk and Bruce Banner. He just fits
Some strong words
best.
right there.
There's some fighting words.
No, they're not.
Fighting words to Paul.
Yeah.
No, I'm a big advocate of the Incredible Hulk. But what's your pick first, Sean?
Mine is Incredible Hulk. I think Edward Norton doesn't get the credit he deserves. It would have been really cool to see more of him as Bruce Banner. Not that I don't like Ruffalo. I think Ruffalo's done a good job with the Hulk being a minor character in the MCU. But the movie's just it's a great what do you call it? Homage to the TV show. I thought. So definitely Incredible Hulk for me.
This is a tough one for me. I really like Push. Push is like a fun movie. I think it had a lot of potential that it never lived up to.
Unfortunately.
And it also, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense in it. But I guess, I really wanted to say Push, but I'm going to.
You can say Push. It's not going to win.
I know, but
You don't want to be a loser, though.
I don't want to.
You could be on the record for Push.
I will be on the record for Push,
Okay.
but very because I love the Incredible Hulk. We talked about the Incredible Hulk on here, and we were very big advocates for it. All right, go down
the
this
next
list.
one is the Superman movie, the Christopher Reeves movie, versus Iron Man 3.
Oh wow.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to say Iron Man 3.
just for the Liverpool accent by the Mandarin. That's how I feel.
Just to be the only one that's gonna say Iron Man 3. That's the only reason why I'm gonna pick it.
I don't like Brendan's reaction.
I feel like I might have to abstain because I actually haven't really seen Superman the movie all the way through. I never really saw the movie.
So for Brendan's last appearance on the show.
So I think in all honesty, it's better for me since I haven't seen it. I should abstain from this fight.
All right, so
we have one for Iron Man 3.
Sean.
Oh, I know where I stand, Paul. You better be on my side here.
You better say Iron Man 3.
Superman to me is the greatest comic book movie ever made. It always will be. He will be the greatest Superman to ever be seen on screen. I don't even have to say more.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I like Iron Man 3.
With me? You're gonna agree with me?
No. I like Iron Man 3. It's a fine movie. It's better than Iron Man 2. It's got a lot more character, a lot more heart, and better graphics, better all around Iron Man movie. I will say though, Superman the movie is the definitive superhero movie. I'm sorry, like you can't beat it. It's even though it's incredibly dated, and I'll still argue that the scene where she's singing that poem in her head while he's flying her around is still really weird.
Yeah,
poem in her head.
Well, she's doing the poem. Like, can you hear my thoughts?
Oh,
that was supposed to be a musical number.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Fun fact from the fanny pack.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
But I'm gonna go Superman on that one.
All right. All right, so here's, this is probably pretty sure here's a little more controversy. We have Batman versus Superman. You know, I had to put this in for a little bit of controversy.
Director's cut, or are we talking about theatrical?
Director's cut.
I think you can interpret.
I think we'll go with director's cut to give a little more leeway. Okay, so we'll go with the director's cut.
All right.
Versus Spawn.
Love Spawn.
That's a tee up. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go with Batman versus Superman because I think there's just more to that. Spawn, again, it falls under that guilty pleasure. It was a fun thing. It was something unexpected in the CGI at the time. Like, oh wow, that's creepy and cool.
And that was pre-Blade, so that was our first R-rated superhero movie, really.
Yeah.
Set the bar really high.
Hey, come on, man.
I'm gonna go Batman versus Superman. Are you gonna pick Spawn? Are you gonna pick Spawn?
Maybe.
You're gonna pick. Go ahead, pick Spawn. Go ahead.
Well, this is the only reason is because if we're talking director's cut, I have not seen director's cut of Batman vs Superman. I've seen only the theatrical version of it. I'd still give it Batman vs Superman. I was just busting your balls.
Finally, Batman vs Superman wins one in this studio.
I can't argue. I mean, I like Spawn very much. It's a guilty pleasure, as you guys have said. But
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman, as much flack as we give the movie is well made.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good movie.
Visually, that's the thing about Zack
Yes,
Snyder. We've
you
said it
know,
a million times.
When in doubt, it's the visuals that get
Yeah,
him over
but
the line.
if you haven't seen Spawn, just go and watch
see
it.
Spawn.
because
It's a fun time.
It's a definition of a '90s movie.
Yes.
And you know, just
100%.
John Leguizamo
Yeah, I was gonna say
just hams it up in that movie, and it's great.
Legendary. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Brendan.
Ant-Man, the first one,
Mhm.
versus Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire.
Ooh.
That's fun. I'll go first. I'm gonna go Spider-Man 2. As much as I like Spider-Man 2 is great, but for a lot of people, it's like the definitive Spider-Man movie, even more than the first one. It's one of those rare Empire Strikes Back situations where a lot more people like the second one more than the first one. And I will say it's much better movie. Like they refined all their stuff, but it's not my favorite Spider-Man movie. We've all established that. I will say my only big complaint about Spider-Man 2 is the fact that he is punching Otto Octavius in the face so hard, so many times, and never goes unconscious. Never dies from getting punched in the face by a superpowered being. That's my only gripe for that movie.
I'm going to go again. I'm picking Spider-Man 2 as the better movie. Again, you might see on this list is a lot of sequels, 2s and 3s, because I felt like a lot of the initial movies are the usual origin story stuff, and they are not as interesting. Whereas sometimes once you establish the character and the origin, the second movie, the third movie might have a better story to tell.
Fair.
And so again, I was trying to find some different stuff. That's why Ant-Man made it in there. But yeah, I think Spider-Man 2 is just a better movie, and it has an amazing soundtrack as well with like all the pop rock acts. I remember that's one of my favorite movie soundtracks of all time.
Love it. Ronnie?
I'm gonna go different.
You're gonna
I'm
go
going
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
It's a great movie.
To me, I like Ant-Man a lot better. I think, yes, it is kind of like an origin story, but it's one like we haven't seen before.
Mhm.
The way it's written, the acting, Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd, you know, to me, I think he is the greatest actor in the MCU that we've had.
That's strong.
That's a very strong phrase.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Who's better?
Downey, as an actor, Downey Jr. is a better actor.
Okay.
I'm
I'll give you
not
Downey.
knocking Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I'll give you Downey, but I mean,
Okay.
I-
That's for another
yeah,
episode.
that's another
I just
discussion.
think the characters that we kind of got introduced to in this, and it being such a, I don't even know, maybe a D-list comic book character to turning into an A-list comic book character is the reason why I'm going to give it to Ant-Man.
I hope what's your rules for a tiebreaker? Because I'm going to go Ant-Man 2 on this one.
You're going Ant-Man?
I thought it was going to be. It's funny when you first said the matchup, and I was like, Spider-Man 2, and then I'm like thinking, you know what? No, I actually really enjoy the first Ant-Man. I don't care for the sequels. I thought the sequels were letdowns, but
I actually liked Ant-Man and the
first
Wasp.
I think Ant-Man and the Wasp was
the
good.
first Ant-Man I thought was, a fun twist on the origin story. I liked Paul Rudd. I liked Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. The effects were funny. Michael Pena as I don't even know his name. What's his name? The character's Luis is hysterical. It's just an enjoyable movie. And that's not a knock on Spider-Man 2, but I'll be honest, I probably haven't seen Spider-Man 2 in 20 years. It's just not a movie I go back and watch. As much as the original Spider-Man. So
Do you want to flip a coin?
No, I think what I'm going to go with, I was trying to think of a tiebreaker besides beyond more, I like this movie more, is that I've actually rewatched scenes from Spider-Man 2, especially the whole when he gets his powers back bit. I think that scene is so moving. So I have yet to really replay anything from Ant-Man.
What's the Rotten Tomato scores?
I don't have time to research this and then what we have right now.
all right, you're a bracket, man. You pick. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so
shenanigans.
so it's clear Spider-Man 2 is moving on. All right.
And it's not like I'm upset about that. Spider-Man 2 is a good movie.
Tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
It's a good one.
I'm already looking ahead to the next round. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna have so much difficulty. So the next fight we have is Deadpool, the first one, versus Chronicle.
Oh.
I'm unfortunately, I think this one's more of a curse plot where I think Deadpool is just gonna wipe the floor of Chronicle.
All right. So that's gonna be your vote.
I'm gonna pick Deadpool on this one.
All right, Ronnie.
I mean, obvious, right?
Oh, it's a shame.
Chronicle. Just kidding.
I know,
No,
I know.
It's Deadpool.
Chronicle was a good movie. It was taking something that was big at that time with the POV movies and all that stuff. And I have to admit, the effects in Chronicle are just incredible.
Yeah.
But Deadpool is it's just a laugh riot movie. I gotta go Deadpool.
It's iconic.
I haven't seen the first Deadpool in so long. But
Really?
yeah, no, they show two a lot on FX
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I'll be the outlier just for funsies, just for the sake of conversation, because we've never talked about Chronicle, I don't think, on the show.
I don't think so.
You've mentioned
Seriously?
you've mentioned it in passing a lot, but I don't think you've actually done an episode on it.
Yeah, because
No.
I like superhero movies that also break the mold, and that's why the Ant-Man one was tough, because it did break the mold. It
Yeah.
was, not the typical origin story, and he was
Yeah.
like a criminal. But for Chronicle, it was the first movie to really make sense of the whole found footage thing. Like, they made the cameras float around them. Like, they attack, like, because that's always the question: why don't they drop the camera? Like, Cloverfield was the worst. So it's like, giant monster, better film it.
Yeah.
But so for me, like, you watch Chronicle and it was different. It was very low budget. It was very simple effects, but still everything looks great in it. So I'm gonna say it, even though we all know
You don't
Deadpool
believe
won.
it?
That's fine.
Yeah.
No, I like the conversation, because that's an episode we've never done. I don't think we've never talked Chronicle,
No.
No.
but I
That's
think
also the movie that gave us Michael B. Jordan.
that is the Michael
Yeah.
B. Jordan start. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't. I don't think.
I think he was in The Wire earlier than that, but I have to look that up.
You were in The Wire earlier than that.
I have okay.
All right, so go ahead.
Kanye West.
All right, so the next one is Fantastic Four, the one with Jessica Alba. I don't remember
Jessica Alba. How dare
Jessica
you.
Alba. I know. And the first appearance of Chris Evans versus Batman: The Mask of the Phantasm.
Ooh, that's fun.
You guys have to know. If I'm on this, I'm throwing in some animated stuff in there. They
That-
need to get their representation.
That's fine.
I'm going Batman: Mask of Phantasm. That movie is just so good.
Soundtrack alone,
Mhm.
So
but,
good.
Yeah, as much as I love the first Fantastic Four, is such a guilty pleasure, and
It's the best Fantastic Four movie.
I'd argue that Rise of the Silver Surfer is actually better.
Really?
Yeah, but I think we'll go with. I think general consensus could be
Yeah, I
Batman.
think
Yeah.
it's Batman on that one. All right. So here we go. We're going. Spider-Man shows up again. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield
Finally.
versus Kick-Ass.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm sorry. So I can see the screens of the movies. So like, I'm not like cheating, but like I saw it and I was like in my head. I just started giggling
it's
because I
gonna hit.
knew what his reaction was gonna be. Because he's like, "Me, Spider-Man 2 is gonna win."
I'm
wait a
so
second.
mad. I'm so mad. I need somebody to go before me. I need to formulate thoughts.
All right, I'll
Go.
go first.
All right. Thank God.
Kick ass. I think to me personally, I kind of like the more R-rated type of stuff, like
Mhm.
seeing like the blood and more action like that than swinging around on a web, which is cool. It is cool. Don't get me wrong, and this is tough to choose between the two because being Spider-Man 2 might be the best Spider-Man movie out of like the original kind of sets that we've had.
Did you really just say The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the best of the original sets?
Yeah.
Where was this validation when I first saw? All right. So you're doing it on purpose.
But I still think, I don't know, with Kick-Ass, it just brought a different element that we're used to and we haven't really seen in a while, like from when that came out
Mhm.
and before. It was something new, something fresh. And it kind of pokes fun at a way, a little bit of the superhero genre, but also staying kind of true to the superhero genre. So to me, I just think it's a great movie all around.
Brendan?
I was actually going to pass it off to Sean. He might have more time to think.
All right, I'm gonna go Kick Ass as well, just because
Uh-oh.
I've been honest. I was not a diehard fan of the Garfield Spider-Man movies, just because again, I felt it was just a cop out to basically remake the Tobey Maguire movies. So I got to go Kick Ass on this. I'm sorry.
I was originally going to go for Spider-Man 2, mostly because I like Spider-Man a lot more. And I thought it was great. And I like all the that we got more of a Gwen Stacy type girlfriend, more of the high school stuff. But then I kind of remembered how much the ending made me feel, because we're like how the trailer kind of screwed up the whole movie a little bit, made you think one thing. And I feel like I think Kick-Ass had a better landing than Spider-Man 2 did. I'm sorry,
Paul
Paul.
looks like he's about to cry.
No,
No.
I'm just here.
Well, this is your chance to,
What were you
to
gonna-
show your
what's
devotion.
So it's a tough one. That is a really big
Yeah.
toss-up. Kick-Ass was such a great movie, and it still holds up exceptionally well. Just Nicolas Cage alone in that movie really just kind of
Yeah.
brings so much to it. I've constantly defended Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, very similar to how I constantly defend Batman vs Superman. I understand their plights, I understand their faults. The whole Rhino thing at the end,
Yeah.
that was a
Mhm.
huge letdown. Even in theaters, people were pissed. I'm going to vote Amazing Spider-Man 2 just purely on the fact that it is visually, it is the most perfect representation of Spider-Man. Like the costume is fantastic. The way that he moves is a lot better. The quips, the jokes. There's a lot of other, like all the Sony stuff that they threw in, like was stupid.
Yeah.
You could tell that they were more just focused on building their universe. But overall, like Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, they had the best chemistry. They were obviously dating in real life at the time, and just like it translated so well, and et cetera, et cetera. I've said it a million times, but it doesn't matter because Kick-Ass won, and I'm okay with it.
Okay, so I'm using the website that I'm using, I guess, is going to do one half of the bracket, and then we jump to the other half.
Okay.
So no, I'm giving you a heads up. So when I tell you that the next matchup we have is Captain America Winter Soldier versus the Incredible Hulk, you're not like, hey, why aren't we doing the other half?
Oh,
So
all right.
now that's what I mean. So right now we're looking at Captain America
we're
versus.
kind of looking at it in a way, with March
We're doing
Madness.
the West Coast matchup.
West Coast versus
then we're
East
going
Coast.
to all the East Coast matchups.
All right.
Oh, okay.
So what's
All
the
right,
matchup?
What's that, Paul?
Sports.
I know. I forgot.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, we're Captain America Winter Soldier versus the Incredible Hulk.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier. It's
At this point, we don't really
We don't
need
need
too
to
much
talk about it. It's
explanations.
just- That's actually good because it kind of gives a little break in the description. So
Yeah.
we're just kind of, all right, nice. All right, let's do it. Uh-oh, he looks like
Superman the movie versus Batman versus Superman.
No.
Superman's gonna lose. Which one? I guess we'll find out now.
No.
Paul.
you know me, Superman the movie,
It's-
hands down.
Somebody go before me.
No, we're gonna make you go.
No, no.
Come on.
You know,
Come
I
on.
know.
All right, Superman.
Okay.
I really hate this because I feel like if I abstain again, I have to abstain for the final matchup at this point. I haven't seen Superman. I feel I'll be consistent with that, so I have to abstain. So we got 2 for Superman.
I'm gonna go Superman the movie. Putting them together side by side is just it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair at all.
All right, well maybe this will make you feel a bit better. These are more buddies fighting it out now. Okay, it's Spider-Man 2 versus Deadpool.
Ooh.
Deadpool.
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 Yeah.
I was gonna go for Spider-Man 2, but I got outvoted on this one. So there we go.
Deadpool's just a little bit more iconic, I think.
All right, wrapping it back around. Batman Mask of the Phantasm or Kick-Ass?
Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
I can watch Batman Mask of
Yeah.
Phantasm more than I can watch Kick-Ass, so I got to go Batman.
Nostalgia was going to win on this one for me. I'm going to go with Batman.
The ending shot of the Mask of the Phantasm alone.
Yeah. I mean, it's winning anyway, even without my vote. But I would have voted for it too. Batman.
Then your vote does count.
Yeah.
All right, where are we at?
Captain America Winter Soldier versus Superman.
Winter Soldier for me. It's Winter Soldier.
That's tough. That's a really tough one.
Because the tough thing with watching Superman from back then is it's so jarring to see now.
It's dated.
It's
that's
dated,
it.
which happens. I
Yeah.
get, but to me, like if I was to grade the movies, right? If we were to do a Star City rating,
Mhm.
to me, Winter Soldier, like I said, is like a 5. Like there's
Out of
nothing.
5.
5 out of 5. Like
Just making sure.
you can't change anything about that movie to make it better. Superman, there are slight things you could do to improve it, even back then, like looking at it from back then's lens. That's the only reason
Mhm.
why it is 51% Winter Soldier versus
Yeah.
49% Superman for me.
All right, so 1 vote for Winter Soldier.
Yes.
I'm gonna go Winter Soldier, and it's
I know.
Hear me
I'm
out.
listening. I'm listening.
I'm not looking at it through the lens of
Rose-colored glasses.
not even that, like just technology, especially because that's the biggest thing people are going to look at.
Yeah.
It's dated.
Yeah.
I look at the characters.
Mhm.
Superman and Captain America are very similar, and the
Yeah.
story is also very similar too. It's the two of them kind of standing up for the right thing to do. The problem is, I think that Winter Soldier has a better story. There are parts of Superman the movie that I fast forward through, like
Okay.
honestly.
Mhm.
Some of it's just really it drags. It's long. It's fantastic, and practical effects wise, it does. But also, I look at Captain America, and practical effect wise, the fight scenes alone.
Yeah.
So for me, it is a toss up. But if I'm going to put one of them on for entertainment purposes only, solely just to be entertained, it's going to be the Winter Soldier.
Do you want to put your vote on the record?
I do. They give such good arguments, and this is the sucky part about. I mean, Paul had to just go through this with Batman vs Superman. I gotta vote for Superman the movie just because it's my favorite of all the superhero movies. it is dated. I am not gonna lie. It is so dated. And then when you look at something like Tim Burton's Batman, you do not see that when you watch Batman. It does not feel dated. Um, the effects are amazing in Superman. The effects are amazing in Captain America. The story is just so compelling in Captain America. Um, it's like Ronnie said, it's like a 51-49. They're both excellent movies, but I gotta go Superman just because I know it's not gonna win, but like Paul's put a couple of his movies on, just for the record.
Yeah.
I gotta go Superman. To me, we wouldn't be here today without this movie.
So really quick, 49%, right? Like it's funny because the 49ers lost again.
And that's all with the sports joke.
Yeah.
Sports.
But
anyway, I'm a 49ers fan. I'm really upset about it. But anyway,
you're better than the Lions fan that I have.
That one fan.
So now it's Deadpool versus Mask of the Phantasm.
Batman, Mask of the Phantasm.
I'm going with Batman for myself as well.
Oh, Ronnie's gonna have a conniption. I'm gonna say Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. I'm sorry. Like Deadpool is very entertaining and I love it, but when you talk quality, like if Superman the movie is the definitive Superman movie, Batman the animated or Batman Mask of the Phantasm is the definitive animated movie. Like, and there's a lot of animated movies.
See,
oh no,
the only reason I'm going Deadpool is due to the fact that I would personally rather watch that than Batman.
And that's a valid point.
That's the only reason I'm going with Deadpool. Because again, I think matching up, just like the one we just had, it's pretty darn equal in my eyes.
We're at that point,
right?
Great movies.
So I think the thing with Deadpool 2 is because of its success, we're able to have all these R-rated superhero movies now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Deadpool opened the door to be able to like curse in a superhero movie and just go a little above and beyond.
Yep.
Which came first, Deadpool or Logan?
Deadpool.
Without Deadpool, you probably wouldn't have gotten Logan.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's another reason why I'm giving it to Deadpool. But again, it's the same thing. Like
it's the nostalgia.
I'm good with either one.
There's just one tear running down Ronnie's.
All right.
Hey, we haven't gotten the Deadpool 2 yet, Roddy. You might have another shot here.
Mask of the Phantasm's moving on.
All right.
Which, by the way, I have to say, I had written down, I told Sean I'm going to write down my prediction for the final two, and already that doesn't work anymore because I thought Superman the movie was going to actually make it to the final.
Oh, wow.
So now for the again to the left-hand side, I think this is the final round for the left-hand side now. Captain America Winter Soldier versus Mask of the Phantasm.
Winter Soldier for me.
Oh man.
Again, I think story wise, visual wise, I mean, to me, again, I just go back to the fact that it is a 5 out of a 5. Wow, Phantasm could use improvements.
Blasphemy.
Could use improvements. I didn't say should or does need improvement. I'm saying it could use improvements.
Blasphemy.
I might need to think about this a little bit more. Actually, Sean, would you mind filling the gap a little bit, or do you have to? Or do you?
No, I can go. I'm gonna go Captain America: Winter Soldier. Now that it's past Superman, it's nothing stopping this movie. I think it is just so good, and it just what it did because it took the MCU and it turned it on its side. We didn't know it was coming. And really just out of left field, what this movie ended up doing for that franchise, to me, is why it's, again, as I said, top 3 of the MCU. So, I mean, Batman, the animated Mask of Phantasm is such a gem, but I think Captain America has to move on here.
Sorry, Brendan. I'm going to go Captain America also.
I believe as much as I love my animation, I think I was going to go Captain America as well. Yeah, going back to that tiebreaker I was saying about scenes I've rewatched, that scene about Captain's orders gets me chills every time.
And also, Batman Mask of the Phantasm at its core is also an origin movie.
Yeah, it is.
And it's another example of them trying to give the Joker some sort of background, and I just don't like it when they do.
I hear you with that.
So now we're on the other side.
Now we're on the East Coast side, all right? So now we're going to go through all these synopses a little bit, okay?
All right.
All right, so we have Hancock with Will Smith.
That's a good movie.
Versus the first Gal Gadot Wonder Woman.
Oh, that's fun. I like that one.
I got to go Wonder Woman. I was not a fan of Hancock. I'll be honest.
I liked Hancock. I'm curious.
Didn't do it for me. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Paul. We're interrupting you.
You guys. I know it's fine. But no, I'm gonna go Wonder Woman. I did like Hancock. I really, truly did. I would love to see the director's cut, like what they originally envisioned. I think it falls apart halfway through, and they decide to go generic action type superhero stuff, and it doesn't work in that case.
Yeah.
For me, though, I really do enjoy Hancock, and if it's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But Wonder Woman was such a solid movie, especially on the heels of Batman vs Superman. Like, people weren't sure what was going to happen, myself included. Like, I was skeptical as much as I'm like, I love it, and I still look at everybody else. I'm like, it's not going to go anywhere. But Wonder Woman comes out and blows everybody away, and just the scene in the trenches alone, like
with,
No Man's Land,
with the music,
it just can't beat it. So for me, I'm going to go Wonder Woman. Ronnie,
I'm going Wonder Woman as much as I do love Hancock, and to me, it's one of my favorite superhero movies. Not saying it's one of the best, but one of my favorites. Part of that has to do with Will Smith. I think you put Will Smith in any role, and he will knock it out of the park.
Especially when I feel like it's against type, because usually he plays a nice guy, and he kind of, he plays the bum.
Yeah,
he really plays, that lecherous bum.
But to me, Wonder Woman, at the moment back then, saved DC. Because we know how it is now.
Could we just imagine being in a theater going, the sequel's gonna suck, everybody?
And that's the thing too. If Hancock was going up against Wonder Woman 84, Hancock,
like contest.
But because it's the original, and like Paul said, that scene trench is just it's chills.
It is top 10 superhero scenes, in all honesty.
But yeah, so Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Wonder Woman as well. Hancock is a lot of fun. I think you could argue, if you want to talk about stumbling points, that movie stumbles earlier, whereas Wonder Woman, if it stumbles at all, which I would say by the third act starts to get a little bit, lose its footing, but it's a better complete movie than Hancock. So Wonder Woman is going to move on.
This is getting tough.
Yeah.
All right, we got The Incredibles, the first one,
fun.
versus Avengers Endgame.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'll go first.
You're gonna say Incredibles. I knew you were gonna say Incredibles.
To me, it is
a near perfect film, except for the fact that it's not live action. It would have been a perfect film.
Yeah.
No, I still have a sore point about this.
Animated superhero movie we've ever had. I will say.
Better than the Phantasm, Mask of the Phantasm?
Yes, I would have chose this over that.
Okay. Oh wow.
Again, I think just the way the movie is done, the story in it, and it's not an origin story too, which is a good thing about it, right? They've already, they kind of do flashback on it, whatever, but I don't know, to me, this is just great. And all the different characters you get, having Buddy in there being the bad guy from, calling back from when he was
like, who the hell's Buddy? His
Yeah.
name's Syndrome.
I know. Well, and then to me, Endgame had its really good moments, but it still kind of fell flat, I feel like.
So I think the issue with when you try to, again, we're talking about if you're trying to compare movie to movie, which is where and partly why I kind of put Endgame on here, because it's interesting, because with Endgame, everybody likes Endgame, but not because maybe per se the movie, but is that it's the bookend, it's the final, it's that last chapter, and it's hitting all these notes. So you having spent 21 films of investment into this movie, you appreciate all that stuff more. But if you were to show that to somebody, a kid who's 10 now who hasn't seen anything else, are they really going to like this idea that it's a heist movie with time?
Yeah.
Like that's the basic premise. And then again, all those moments about like on your left, and he finally picking up the hammer, like, okay, like, so what's the big deal? He picked up the hammer. Like you had to know that was a thing, 2 Avenger movies ago, that was a party trick thing, So that's why I put this on, because I thought it would be a really interesting thing. So I am versus The Incredibles. I have a little baggage with you, Ronnie, about The Incredibles, so that's why I'm having a hard time deciding what to pick through with this one. Okay.
I thought you guys were about to fight for a second.
Like, are you not surprised that I remembered the quote that you had about The Incredibles all those months ago?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's, well,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it hit a sore spot with me. I'm the animation guy, and he's saying it's not a perfect film, because it's not animated, it's not live action. That kind of stuck a chord with me. I still have the first draft of my potential podcast written down.
I think it would have been better live action, but it's still.
We can make a podcast
fantastic
called
movie.
"Reasons We Don't Like Ronnie." Like, we can
Isn't
do
that what
that.
this is?
So I think then on that case, I think that the time heist thing worked better than, I'm gonna go with The Incredibles. I'm gonna switch over because I think again, because that was the thing I'm trying to divorce from again, is the movie itself, not all the baggage it has being the first that opened the gateway to everything like Superman did, or the first thing that opened the gateway for like Deadpool did. Does the movie hold up compared to the other movie? And I'm gonna go with The Incredibles is the better standalone film than the Avengers Endgame that needs 21 other movies to kind of appreciate.
Sean,
You want me to go?
yes.
This is tough. Calm down. Let me.
He's got to build up the
I
anticipation.
I will say when I first saw Avengers Endgame, I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. The more I've watched it since, I tend to see its faults a lot more. The time thing was a little kind of just felt a little forced to me. I did not care for the interpretation of the Hulk in this movie. There was a few things that just kind of fell for me on Endgame. So I'm going to go Incredibles on this one.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
Sorry, I love
Honestly,
The
I'm
Incredibles.
kind of surprised those two sided with me.
I'm surprised myself at this point, but sorry.
Avengers Endgame. I really liked it.
Well, we get to fight for the other one now. So we have the Lego Batman movie versus Avengers Infinity War.
Stop it.
I think
Well,
Well,
you need to watch 42 movies before Infinity War.
So I will start by saying, because if I'm going to be fair, if I was a Superman, I haven't seen the Batman Lego movie. So I'm going to have to abstain out of this fight.
I haven't seen it since we saw it in theaters. I'm going Avengers Infinity War.
I'm gonna go Infinity War also because it's funny because as much as I joke, you needed to have a lot of knowledge about Batman to enjoy the Lego Batman movie to its fullest capacity. Like
Mhm.
It was a love letter to
Batman.
To Batman.
Yeah.
It was not.
Infinity War will always be the movie that when it ended, we were in shock.
yeah.
And it has such great moments. Infinity War is the action movie of like Infinity War and Endgame are one movie, in all honesty. And Infinity War is the action set pieces, all the fast moving stuff, and then Endgame is the closure part. Like it's yes, there's a giant battle at the end, which we all love.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great.
But
But that's the only good thing about that movie.
easy.
Oh,
Oh wow. Shots
I
fired.
was bummed with choosing who died, who lived.
Yeah.
The fact that the people who vanished at the end of Infinity War, you only literally got 5 minutes of them at the end of Endgame, and I'm like, how did you guys choose this?
Yeah.
And they got so much more money than we'll ever see in our entire lives.
Yeah.
It's like I thought like they would come back like a halfway point in the movie.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think it was going to be literally the last 15 minutes of the movie until we saw these people. So,
Mhm.
25 minutes.
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I
But
mean?
I mean, not that. I mean, I'm going Infinity War. Like to me, it's so much better than Endgame is.
No, that's fair.
You
A
know.
lot of people feel that
You
way.
walked out of
Yeah.
Infinity War, I'm sure was very similar to walking out of Empire Strikes Back
Yeah.
in 1980. It was just one of those, what the frick did I just watch?
Mhm.
And now I gotta wait.
Yeah.
I gotta wait a year to watch how
Yeah.
this gets resolved. Like, no.
And you almost didn't really need to watch the previous 20 movies to really get what was going on in Infinity War.
That's fair.
Too,
I
and
can see that.
Lego Batman to me, it is a great movie.
It's funny.
It is a great fun movie, but Infinity War without a doubt.
All right, so Infinity War is moving on. Next up, this is Blade 2 versus X-Men First Class.
Ooh.
And I'm going to sound like a terrible host for not pick movies that I have not seen.
Yeah, you gotta stop doing that.
I know, right? So Blade 2 I have not seen.
Is that what you texted me the other day?
That's why I texted you all the way.
He texted me out of nowhere. He's like, which Blade movie is the best?
Which
And
I prefaced by saying I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah. So I'll go first. This is a tough one. I'm going to say First Class, though.
Oh, yeah?
X-Men First Class was way better than it deserved to be. It was
Yes.
way better than we expected,
Mhm.
especially after Last Stands. And, X-Men Origins Wolverine. We were like the X-Men franchise almost died completely. And then First Class rolls around and it was so good. I really enjoyed it. I have some qualms with it, but I'm going to go, I'm going to go X-Men First Class.
Anyone got a coin?
I think that means Sean. What do you think?
Seriously, you don't want to?
No,
You're literally 50-50?
I am literally 50-50 on this. Like I would need a coin to decide because they're both good movies. They both have great moments in them, but they've also have a lot of work to improve them.
Mhm.
Like they're both like average to they're slightly above average movies.
yeah.
Brendan,
If
actually,
you need it, here's the
are
quarter.
you really gonna put
Just,
coin on it?
just
Really gonna
Hold on,
put
hold
it
on.
on the carpet. Roll it on the carpet.
What's your?
Oh, come on. You gonna make me go? Okay.
Is
So,
it gonna be
well,
different?
I'm a little bummed here now because by what I just heard, he asked Paul what the best Blade movie was. The fact that Blade 1 is not going to be on this list is kind of a.
I thought Blade 2 was a better movie, and
No, that I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying if it was Blade 1 versus First Class, hands down, I would have picked Blade because I think Blade is a fantastic movie. Blade 2 is good. Obviously, it's Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot more interesting than Blade in terms of what they did.
Mhm.
But First Class was just such a pleasant surprise
Mhm.
when I saw it. The casting was, I thought, fantastic. To get McAvoy, to get Michael Fassbender, who steals the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And I will stand by that scene in the bar at the beginning when he kills the three guys.
Yeah.
I was like, get that man as James Bond now.
Mm.
I was like, this guy is Bond.
Yeah.
And it's funny how Paul said how the X-Men franchise almost died until we got First Class. Well, it died after First Class because you hear me out. You waste what you got
Yeah.
in First Class and you bring back the original cast. Not that I have a problem with Hugh Jackman, not that I have a problem with Patrick
Mhm.
Stewart. They're great. But again, can we just have, it's like Man of Steel 2, could we have gotten a First Class 2? Could we have gotten another movie with the young versions of the characters before you force Bryan Singer back down our throats? And that sounds horrible because of what he is.
Would it have been called Second Class?
I don't know what it would have been called.
Second grade.
But I would have liked to have seen more
Like
of
graduation.
I would
year.
like to have seen more of him recovering from being shot.
Yeah.
What the fallout is going to be, obviously, with what's her name, Jennifer Lawrence, joining Magneto. I was just that movie was
It
so.
feels like
good.
there's a movie missing in between.
Yes,
So,
and that's
what's
why
your-
I'm still going to go.
your choice?
I'm going to go First Class
First Class. Okay.
because it's a better movie, I think, than Blade
Yeah.
2. But I just want to note on fact that after that, the X-Men films went to
Yeah.
shit, in my
All
opinion.
right. So I don't need the
Triggered.
coin.
So triggered.
Because obviously X-Men First Class is gonna win.
Yeah.
No matter what. So that would be my vote too.
Okay.
That was well said, Ronnie, and
Thank
very
you.
calm.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Batman 89
Mhm.
versus Marvel Avengers. I did not make the match, but I just picked the movies.
this could have been a final for this side of the
Can
bracket.
I go first? Can I go first?
You
go
Okay,
first.
go ahead, Batman.
All right.
Oh,
Hold
that
on.
be my answer.
Can I just establish that the Avengers, to me, is a movie that will forever be a part of comic book history. The fact that you get all those superheroes on one screen, you pull off a story where it works, the effects are amazing, the cast is amazing. But I'm sorry, the Tim Burton Batman movie to me is iconic. It will never be a better Batman movie, in my opinion. As much as I love the Nolan films, Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton, done.
Is there anybody else in that movie?
Done.
Does there need to be?
No, all right.
There's the one reporter that I've seen him in other things.
Robert Wool, man.
Thank you.
Robert Wool. Kim
All right.
Basinger.
I'm gonna say Avengers. I think Avengers is, I don't want to say the better movie, that's not the right term. But again, they did a lot of things in Batman really well. And then they did some things that I just didn't really care for. Again, giving the Joker his backstory and having him to be the one that killed the Waynes. Did we need that? No. Did we need to see so much setup and build up? No. Can Michael Keaton kick anybody's ass in real life? I don't think so. All right.
You want to test it out?
Yeah. I'll fight Michael Keaton. I will fight Michael Keaton. I would love to fight Michael Keaton. Prime Keaton. Multiplicity Keaton. But for me, I'm going to go Avengers. Avengers was something that was unheard of at the time, and it changed the movie landscape. Some say for the better, for the worse. Like everyone wanted their cinematic universe after that. And say what you will about some of the products we've gotten afterwards because of it, but for me, like that circle shot of the Avengers, that Super Bowl trailer when we first saw it,
Oh, it was great. It was
love
great.
it. And again, it's one of those 51 49 percenters. Like,
But you can also argue like the feeling of seeing that is we didn't witness the feeling of seeing Batman on the screen, we were 2 years old. I mean,
Yeah.
you were probably not even born yet. I don't even know.
Yeah.
So
I was
like,
born in 89.
I wish I
Yeah.
could have been around when that movie came out, because I'm
Yeah.
sure the craziness of that movie was just as much as the Avengers.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody was so like pissed off about Keaton.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but
All right, Ronnie,
All right.
Oh,
This is
boy.
a toughie.
get that coin out again.
Yeah. I am a huge Tim Burton fan, as I'm sure we all know. Avengers movie is, I think, iconic because of that shot. This is tough because they're both like, yeah, it's this kind of like the same old Batman story that we get in almost all.
it's not an origin story. It's an
But
origin
it's-
story of
well,
the
yes.
Joker.
Yes. While Avengers is its own like story, and it's the first time we really get a nice big ensemble cast, and it works well. They all work together very well. However, I'm gonna go Batman.
Oof. All right, I didn't expect that.
I think just
So we got 2 Batman, 1
yeah,
Avengers.
I think it's just the nostalgia aspect of it too. Like, and the fact that you can watch that movie now and it still kind of holds up.
It's not it doesn't have a dated feel
Yeah.
like Superman 78 does.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is again. I'm glad this is kind of one of those that came up. This is a tough match. I love both of these movies. I think Batman '89 was awesome growing up watching that, and the VHS and those that has its own iconic shots again of the Batwing going up into the moon.
Mhm.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Stuff like that. And then Avengers again trying to divorce the history of the importance of the movie itself. Needing the other movies to watch it. Does it hold it? Do you know who these characters are without having seen 4 other movies? And I think it does do a good job of selling what each character is about. So I am I'm gonna go with Avengers to make it interesting. And then using the same tiebreaker of what have I rewatched more in terms of clips on YouTube, and I believe it's been Avengers. So we're gonna go with that. And a shout out to Ashley
right.
Johnson being in the Avengers, by the way. So
Was there more to her? Supposed to be more to her?
there
in
was
that
supposed to be
movie?
more to her in that
Okay.
movie, yeah.
Sean, we're 0 for 2 in the tiebreakers.
Yeah, it's all right.
So
I'm not upset about it.
It's
Like,
not
no,
one. It's
not
a
at
dumb
all.
one.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about it. The Avengers is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
But I love Batman.
all right. So I think I have an idea how Sean's gonna go for this one. So because we have X2 X-Men United.
All right.
Good one.
Because you mentioned how you're feeling about Bryan Singer versus Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
As much as I love Watchmen visually, and as much as I'll defend it too, X2 is it's a great movie. The opening scene alone,
Yeah.
the Nightcrawler, and it did what a sequel should do. It rose the stakes. Unfortunately, it's also when the real focus to Wolverine shifted, and suddenly he was like and Cyclops is only in it for 12 minutes or something stupid.
Triggered.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I hope they do justice to Cyclops in whatever MCU iteration they do.
Mhm.
But I will say X2 is the superior movie.
I agree with you on that. I think, yeah, again, like all the points you said, it's a better story. I think they expanded on the characters more in a more organic way. I feel like with Watchmen, it's almost I had a great phrase in my head for it, but it's almost like it's a lot of bloat in the sense of that you have a big budget thing trying to finally adapt one of the most difficult things to ever adapt. And a little bit again, I think Zack Snyder is good for some imagery, but in terms of
He doesn't write a strong script.
he doesn't write a strong script. And I think again, the whole point Grant Morris wrote was that he wrote Watchmen because that's the only thing you wrote it in a way that comics do better.
Mm-hmm.
And translating it to the film, I think the opening montage to Watchmen is amazing as well. But there are parts where it gets a little bit and self-indulgent, I think is what I'm thinking of.
Also, the problem is like there's too much reliability on the source material, and like as much as I love the imagery and the fight scenes are fantastic, you have to be a fan of the comic to really appreciate it. And even the fans of the comics were like, "You changed the ending." Like there was no satisfying anybody. It's a good enough movie. The director's cut's like 4 hours long.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it, but yeah, I'm with you on that.
Mhm.
Oh boy, Ronnie.
So the only thing Watchmen has on X2
Nudity?
is that and visual.
Visual nudity.
Visually, Watchmen is better.
Mhm.
But if you look at everything else, script, editing, acting, all that stuff, it's X2. So I'm gonna go X2, even though I do like Watchmen.
Yeah.
It is a good movie.
It is
But
not something you could throw on just on like a
No.
lazy Sunday
especially
afternoon.
since it's 17 hours long.
But Jackie Earle Haley,
Yeah.
like that was our first interaction with him.
Mhm.
A lot of those guys,
Yeah.
who plays Night Owl?
Oh, Patrick Wilson.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the first movie I ever saw him in.
What about you,
Any
Sean?
vote? Anything for the record?
I'll be honest, I have not watched Watchmen since I saw it in theaters. And
I am shocked.
Didn't we
and
go to like a
surprised.
midnight showing of that?
Probably.
And I didn't get home till 4 a.m. I was miserable, so that left a bad taste in my mouth. The movie is beautiful, well made, and we all know this about Zack Snyder. I thought the acting was pretty good. I mean, Jeffrey D. Morgan
he's a
was
comedian.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Jackie Earle Haley, Billy Crudup as Dr. Manhattan. But I have to say, X-Men 2 is the better movie. It takes what we loved about the first X-Men and oomph it to the next degree. I mean, oomph it to the next degree. That opening scene in the White House with Alan Cumming as Nightwing is fantastic. But you said, we do really jump more into that. Hugh Jackman Wolverine is the main character in that series. But it's a better movie. It's not a great movie in my opinion, but it's a better movie than Watchmen.
Yeah.
All right.
X2 is moving on. Alrighty. We have now I can read that.
I wish you could read that.
I know. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the first Miles Morales animated movie.
All right.
Versus
Venom.
Oh,
That's
I love Venom. I really do, but I'm gonna go Into the Spider-Verse.
I would rather watch Venom.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I would rather watch it. However,
Here we go.
obviously Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the better movie. Just the animation style that they have in it.
It's
And
the Lego Batman movie of Spider-Man.
yeah,
That's what it is.
I don't know. It's just great. I
Better than
mean,
Lego Batman.
the screenplay is a lot better. The thing about Venom, I do like Venom. I know it's not a good movie. It's not a terrible movie. It's not really a bad movie. It's an average movie.
It was better than we thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, as much as I do love Venom and I'd rather watch Venom, it is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Sure.
I do like Venom. I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed the first Venom. Tom Hardy carries that movie on his shoulders. And as we saw in the second one, it just they couldn't extend the greatness of the first one. But Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is just so amazing in terms of the animation style that they chose. That I got to go with that one. It is just so well done.
Brendan, anything for the record?
For the record is I haven't seen Venom, so I'm terrible.
Who's in charge of this?
You did.
I'm good at making lists. I just, I knew it would be good for discussion. I just knew I could contribute to some things. All right, I think this is the last one of the East Coast stuff. I think I can discuss all of these though. We have The Dark Knight versus Logan.
Oh,
Why are you gasping?
That's a tough one.
This is easy.
oh, really? All right, go first.
The Dark Knight.
Oh,
The Dark Knight by a million degrees. I think it is a lot better of a movie. I think the problem with Logan is we could have used it a few years before than when it actually came out. And then I think just the performance of Heath Ledger just brings that over the top. What? Were you gonna say something?
I'm just asking why you're whispering.
I'm not whispering.
Okay.
I don't know. Just to me, The Dark Knight is one of those movies where it is, you could say probably top five. Maybe some people might think it's a little bit below that, but top 5 superhero movies of all time to me is The Dark Knight, while Logan is maybe middle of the road.
Sean?
I'm going to go Dark Knight. I honestly, I don't know where Logan stands in the realm of comic book movies. Besides you guys, I've never talked about the movie with anyone else and how they feel about it. I'm sure the R-rated aspect of it, helps it in terms of it's something we never got to see Wolverine do on screen. But I mean, to me, it's just no contest. It's Dark Knight. I just think Dark Knight is just one of those tentpole movies that we'll always remember as one of the great comic. It could be one of the great movies,
Yeah.
not just comic book movies. I think it's one of the great movies that have been made. Heath Ledger, obviously is a big factor in that. But the rest of the cast, I think, is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
So, I got to go with that one. Sorry, Paul.
I'm gonna go Logan. The more I've talked about The Dark Knight, my biggest problem with The Dark Knight is it's not a Batman movie. It is a Joker movie with Batman in it. Heath Ledger is fantastic. I will never take that away from him. And the story is great too. Heath Ledger steals that movie. The fact that Batman is the secondary appeal in that movie, just it makes it tough for me. And also, like, I look at it as Christian Bale is not my favorite Batman.
That's fine.
And that
That's
makes it harder for me to be like, this is script wise and story wise, it's great. There are some qualms with the story, but like for the most part, it works. I really liked Logan. And even though it was a huge deviation from the actual Old Man Logan comics, it was such a great send off to a character that arguably defined a lot of comic book genre for a long time. Like, starting X-Men really started the whole comic book craze back in the early 2000s. And big part of that was Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. As much as I get annoyed that he took all the focus and they relied on him so heavily, I gotta say, I like Logan better. I don't think it's a better movie per se, but
Okay.
my vote's gonna go to Logan.
I'm going to take The Dark Knight.
That I figured.
Yeah.
So I said my piece.
All right. So now moving back to the top of the bracket.
I already have a
Waiting for
sense
this
of
thing
what I have a sense of what the matchup's going to be
Oh,
in
yeah.
the last round.
Yep.
I'm
Why
curious
does
as
this
to what
not
you
want
think.
to. Okay. It's having me some grief right now. All right. So
That was the last one. Now we're doing the
yeah,
Yeah.
it is, but it's the website. Anyways, moving on, we have Wonder Woman versus The Incredibles.
Wonder Woman. At this point, we're just gonna vote because I have to use the bathroom and B.
We're not gonna talk about it.
Oh,
I'm going Incredibles.
I'm going Incredibles.
I think I'm gonna we'll go with The Incredibles because I think it's a more complete movie than Wonder Woman. So we're gonna go with The Incredibles.
You're a complete movie.
Thank you very much for all that. Let's try that one more time. Avengers Infinity War versus X-Men First Class.
Infinity War.
Infinity War.
I gotta go Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity War is. All right, we have Avengers versus X2.
Avengers.
Avengers.
I'm gonna go with Avengers, Ronnie.
So it doesn't matter what you say.
For making
X2.
For the record.
You guys, I'm going X2.
More like X, you guys.
All right. We have Into the Spider-Verse versus The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Into the Spider-Verse.
He's just gonna keep going against.
No, I love Into the Spider-Verse.
What's the better movie though?
Into the
That's
Spider-Verse.
Dark Knight. I love Into the
I'm
Spider-Verse.
gonna go, I think, with Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, so now we
Yeah.
got to worry about what Brendan watches.
Great. Here we go, Sean. We're gonna lose again.
Yeah, Brendan finally watched one of these movies.
Which one do you watch more, Brendan? Spider-Verse. I know it's coming.
Just flip a coin then.
I will say, I did rehearse a lot of the Joker lines at one point when it first came out, but I do think that scene where he becomes Spider-Man and he swings through, I've played that way too many times.
It's a tough one. That's like a really
So Spider-Man is moving on, guys.
wow.
Again, that was okay. So
Dark
now
Knight,
that
one
it's
of the best
knocked
movies
out,
ever.
now that it's knocked out, yes, no, I had Dark Knight versus Superman as my finals, and I'm totally been blown out by that.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking it was going to be Dark Knight versus
Winter Soldier.
I was
Yeah.
really.
That would have been a good one.
okay, yeah. So that actually moved on. I lost track of all my stuff. So we have Incredibles versus Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Oh,
Oh no.
all right. So I'm going to preface this on saying that I think Infinity War wins this because it is one half of the culmination of the original MCU. I love The Incredibles so much.
Oh, it's so good.
I do, but I feel like I just think Infinity War's got to move on. It's tough. It really is.
It is.
But
I'm going to go with Infinity War as well. I think also because it changes expectations. Because again, Incredibles, you're pretty confident the good guys are going to win.
it's a Disney movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now, like, hey, the bad guy won one.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll be
Did
honest.
he though?
What? In which one?
And
Infinity War?
technically, in the end, he does not win.
Infinity War?
Yes, he does.
I'm sorry, Incredibles?
Incredible.
No, in because technically it's It's one movie.
Stop it.
Wait, what are we talking about?
No, he's saying that
Avengers, the Infinity War.
Oh, okay.
technically it
I
doesn't
thought you were
count.
talking about Syndrome. I'm like, he
No.
dies at the
Yeah.
end of the movie. What are we talking about
See,
here?
To me, there is less wrong with The Incredibles than there is with Infinity Wars. So to me, if there's less things I can change about a movie, that means it's a better movie. So for me, I would have said The Incredibles.
I would have said The Incredibles, I'll be honest with you, if the sequel turned out to be better. Like if we had gotten we had gotten the sequel right away,
Yeah.
I think Incredibles could have evolved into possibly a trilogy and they would have done a lot more. The fact that they waited 15 years to do that sequel and it was such a letdown, I think is another.
I haven't seen it since we saw it in the theater.
No, I agree. I haven't seen it either. I just thought it was.
Could not tell you what it's about.
So underwhelming, but Infinity War is just. I mean,
it's Infinity War.
It's Endgame, Infinity War. They're the same movie as Paul said. So I gotta go Infinity War.
All right, so Infinity War is going to move on.
Good.
Get over it, Ronnie.
Avengers versus Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse. 100%.
I'll go into the Spider-Verse on that one too.
100%.
Sean?
What's up, Danger?
I think you just got me there. What's up, Danger's going to go. Spider-Man, I'm going to pick.
Okay, I was going to go Avengers. I just thought Avengers.
Tough one. That's a tough one.
I'm kind of surprised you guys were so quick to go Spider-Man on that one, but
love that movie.
Infinity War versus Into the Spider-Verse.
Ooh.
I gotta go Infinity War. If I was thinking Avengers was gonna beat Spider-Man, I gotta go Infinity War beating Spider-Man.
Ronnie, you go next.
See, I'm gonna go with Infinity War just due to the fact that if Incredibles moved on, I would have chose Incredibles over Into the Spider-Verse.
All right,
I'm gonna go Infinity War.
I'm gonna go Infinity War also. I'm not gonna justify it.
I think I'm gonna go with Infinity War as well because I think it tells a more advanced story than Into the Spider-Verse because again, in the grand scheme, it's an origin story, whereas Avengers Infinity War is telling a more complex story.
Oh man, I need to lay down.
Okay, so there's the matchup I did not hear. Really the final question.
Final one.
Captain America, the Winter Soldier versus Avengers Infinity War.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
All right, so the final is not as hard a discussion. Winter Soldier.
I mean, and again, Winter Soldier versus, let's establish it would have been Winter Soldier versus Superman. That's tough. Winter Soldier versus Dark Knight is also tough. This one is not hard to make.
Yeah.
I like Infinity War, but Winter Soldier is just
so good.
So good.
So good.
Nah, I hear that, guys.
So good. That was fun.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Don't forget, if you guys want more of our content, you can find it on our website, themisfitfaction.com. You'll find links to all of our different shows, including links to Brendan's YouTube channel. Multiverse FanCast is not our only show. We also have Cinematic Adventures and MF Uncensored. Thank you. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Go to our Facebook page and like it. We're not going to do Fan Feedback Friday just because this has been a very long episode and we're going to leave it at that. But I think that's pretty much going to wrap us up. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Ronnie.
I'm Sean.
I'm Brendan.
I'm confused, and we'll be back in a flash.
See ya.
Flash sucked.